There is a moment the narcissist is never prepared for, and it is not confrontation. It is the moment you go no contact and stop trying to understand them. Stoic philosophy teaches that suffering comes not from loss, but from attachment to expectation. The narcissist is nothing if not attached to expectation. They expect access, reaction, emotional labor, and narrative control. When you remove all of that at once, the structure they rely on destabilizes. Narcissists do not experience relationships as mutual bonds. They experience them as regulatory systems. You were not a partner to them in the emotional sense. You were a stabilizer, an interpreter, and a buffer. You absorbed their anxiety and returned coherence. You managed emotional overflow they refused to process internally. When you go no contact without explanation, that regulatory system disappears. Stoicism refers to this as the loss of externals. Narcissists lack that internal capacity. The initial phase of collapse is not sadness. It is irritation, agitation, and restlessness. The nervous system remains activated with no release valve. Cortisol stays elevated and baseline stress increases. Small frustrations feel intolerable and disproportionate. The narcissist begins scanning outward for relief. This is where the new supply becomes essential rather than optional. Once your energy is fully withdrawn, the structure weakens. The narcissist begins to feel disoriented rather than satisfied. They cannot locate themselves without your reflection. This disorientation produces panic rather than insight. When you stop chasing and stop checking, something critical shifts. Without your reaction, their internal narrative collapses. They experience this not as loss, but as threat. Dopamine drops sharply without a tension-based reward. Cortisol spikes without emotional discharge. The nervous system begins to misfire. Escalation follows predictably. More posts, more noise, more performative happiness appear. This behavior is often mistaken for confidence. In reality, it is withdrawal behavior. The narcissist is attempting to self-stimulate regulation. They seek reaction to restore equilibrium. When you do not respond, frustration turns inward. They redirect pressure toward the new supply. Expectations increase without explanation. Criticism replaces affection. The new supply was not chosen for emotional capacity. They were chosen for novelty and availability. They were never trained to regulate chaos.